conference. Closest to me, Nico Hulkenberg, then George Russell and Lewis Hamilton. Let's start with the man closest to me, Nico. Good to see you. Now, since the high of Melbourne, the P7, it's been a little tougher going for you and Sauber. Just tell us about the performance of the car. Have you found the limit of it yet?
Well, I hope not, and I hope that we can, shift the limit up, as the season goes on. Yes, it's true. The last couple of races, I think it's been difficult. On some tracks, we were a bit more competitive than on others. I think Jeddah, in particular, I feel in quali, we didn't maximize the potential, and in the race, we simply weren't competitive enough. So like I said, I feel it's a little track dependent, and anyway, in the midfield is so tight that you have to be perfect on the execution every time to get something meaningful. So that's where we are. I think we are aware, that we still have a lot of work ahead of us, but we're not that far away either.
Track dependent. What kind of track suits the C45? Faster tracks, by the sound of it.
I think not necessarily. I think, no, I wouldn't say that. Maybe from what we've seen so far, maybe actually a bit more the low and medium speed, which obviously here is a little bit more content of that. But we'll find out. And temperatures also in conditions always play a role.
The team is building up to the arrival of Audi next year. What do you want to see Sauber do over the remainder of this year? Would you like to see them switch everything and focus on 26? Or do you think you need to build some momentum this year as well?
I think it's very important still to build momentum this year. Everything we do now somewhat, also matters next year. Of course, different set of regulations, but I think, we have to push on parallel. I'm sure that's what, everyone is doing, and especially the big teams. But I, still want to see some progress this year, and we want to, score more points. It's still a long year. We're still pretty early in the season, so still, a lot to play for.
All right, thank you very much for that, George. Let's bring you in now. 3 podiums from the opening 5 races. Is that a tally that matches with your pre-season expectations?
No, I think it's probably better than our pre-season expectations, to be honest. The pace has fallen out where we thought, that step behind McLaren, and then a close fight with Red Bull and Ferrari, and we've been doing really well to get those podiums, but I don't think it necessarily, and we're nicely P2 in the teams championship, but I don't think it necessarily means we are the second fastest team. I think sort of on average we've been the 3rd fastest team. We saw, obviously, Charles had a great race last week, and obviously Max also the last couple of races, but we've just been nicely consistent and picking up points.
Consistent, yes, but it looked like Saudi was the most difficult of the races so far. Having had a chance to debrief with the team, what conclusions have you reached?
Tyres were too hot, really, so that was a big problem, and I think just pushing a bit too hard to try and keep up with the front 2, and Charles put in a really, really strong race, and I was probably driving too quick for what the tyres and the car was capable of, and then we dropped off the cliff. So not too sure how this weekend's going to pan out, because I think in terms of temperatures and the tyres, it'll be relatively similar to Jeddah. So we'll have to wait and see see any of the learnings we've taken from last week. We can translate into a bit of performance, but I'm confident the quality pace will sort of be there or thereabouts, but it's the race pace there's a bit more of a question mark.
All right, George, thank you for that. Good luck. And Lewis, good to see you. It feels like this is a big weekend. Your first race for Ferrari in the USA. You've got the Met Gala on Monday. We know what you're wearing in the car. Can you tell us what you're wearing on Monday?
I don't even know, if I'm honest.
Really?
Not putting much thought to it.
Look, you're co-chair of the Met this year. Just how much have you enjoyed that experience?
It's amazing working with Anna and her team, and it's been a privilege. To be able to continue to do stuff in fashion is fun, but Anna's been really understanding. I haven't had a lot of time to do a huge amount with it, but the work has been in drips over the past like 2 years already with Anna. So yeah, excited for people to see it.
Well, Lewis, let's bring it on track. Now, it's been a little bit frustrating these last few races for you, but we've seen stints in races where the car and you have been really competitive. What is stopping you repeating that performance, those quick stints?
Many things, lots of different things. There's not one particular.
Is there anything we can talk about here, having been back to the factory?
Not particularly. I mean, I just when I joined Mercedes, the first 6 months was tough. Getting attuned to working with new people. Obviously, the engineers that I'm working with now are used to setting up a car for a different driver and a different driving style, and I'm used to driving a car with a different driving style, and so it's just a combination of a bunch of different things.
Are you able to drive this car instinctively, or are you having to think consciously while you're in it?
I would say you're generally always a mixture of the two. But I'm definitely working hard to adjust to this one for sure.
All right. Well, what about this weekend in Miami? What can we expect from you and Ferrari?
No clue. We'll do the best we can, and yeah, we've not got upgrades or anything this weekend, but we continue to try and optimize the car. And obviously, Charles in the last race did a fantastic job and showed what the car can do in a race. So the goal is to try to replicate that.
All right. Good luck with that. Okay. Thank you. It's a busy room in here. Let's go to the broadcasters next. Start with Craig.
Yeah, Craig Slater, Sky Sports. Question for George, actually, with your GPDA hat on. The President Mohammed bin Sulayem has said that after constructive feedback with drivers, he's looking at making improvements to the rules that govern the driver conduct issues and so on. I just wanted to know, do you think that's a very positive step, George?
Yeah, I mean, conceptually, yes. But obviously we want to see these things put into action rather than saying, we're considering things. We all consider a lot of things. We're clear we want changes, and once they are implemented, then we'll comment on it. But for the time being, it's being considered. So it's just, the words don't mean anything until the change has been made.
Okay, David.
Question to Lewis, David Croft, Sky Sports. Hi, Lewis. Carlos Sainz has said today that you can't just show up at a team and be 2 or 3 tenths quicker. It's just not possible than your teammate who's there and established at the team. Is that true, or did we see in China with the sprint that you can do that and your car is probably more suited to the sprint at the moment than a Grand Prix? Just try and explain a little bit as to why that was so good in China, and is this weekend a plus for you given it's a sprint weekend?
Can't really explain it too much. I mean, in a sprint race, obviously there's not a huge amount of changes you make. I think the one thing to take from it is that we didn't make a lot of changes, if actually any changes, going from P1 to then quali. As where on all the other weekends we've been tinkering with the car and making it worse. So, yeah.
And on the subject of not turning up, and on the subject of you can't turn up and be 2 or 3 tenths quicker than your teammate, is that true, or do you think that is possible?
I mean, there's elements of that are true, but I mean, it's different for everyone. So.
All right. Next one, Albert.
Albert Fabregal, ESPN Latam. A question for you all three. I'm sure you reviewed last Grand Prix corner 1, lap 1 incident between Oscar and Max. Do you feel that the penalty of 5 seconds penalty was correct? It was 10 seconds, or it was you think that it was no further action? What's your opinion?
Nico, let's start with you.
You always take me first on these, Tom. Thank you.
You're close.
Well, I think, these guys, are fighting for the championship, what it looks like right now. And, probably that will continue like this. So, there's no gift, when you fight for a championship and in racing in general. And it's lap 1 action, turn 1, you come with quite high speed, even though it's not the longest of runs. So, for me personally, you know, I think it's part of racing, and these kind of things just happen.
What do I add?
Same. Sorry, Albert. Right, next one.
Yeah, this is Mergalio from Viaplay. Nico, you are no more the only racing father in the paddock. Do you have some advices for Max? Maybe some diaper advices?
You know that for a fact.
At
I don't know.
In the near future, in coming days. He's not here for this week, today.
Yeah, it's true though. It's a fun fact that I was the only, since, you know, Checo and K-Mac left at the end of last year, was the only dad. So yeah, he's joining that club, and I hope it's a good sleeper. You know, we've been quite fortunate and lucky, but yeah, I think lots to discover. You know, many beautiful and nice things that come with that. So yeah, I'm sure he will enjoy that.